this. Oh, I don't want to do that. Hello, sorry, I'm getting a couple of things set up still. Having some technical difficulties. My iPad had an update and now things don't want to work, so it's like still finishing setting up for some reason. I have no idea. One second. Okay, cool. Get this going. Hello and welcome. Get my seat in the right spot. How are you guys? My hair is looking extra interesting right now. I tried this new product out in... Royce, hello! How are you? I tried this new product out in my hair and I slept with it in, and this part, it absorbed into this part pretty well, like the underneath side, but the top part is just like saturated now. I shouldn't have wrapped it, but then if I didn't wrap it, it would have gotten all over my pillows. So what to do? All right, let's get this. I wonder if this is gonna be too loud. Let's turn this. Oh. This food on my plate, cause I'm the breadwinner. Is my ass getting fat, cause it ain't getting thinner. All right. Oh, I didn't even like flip my notes. I'm exhausted, you guys. I am like physically, maybe I'm mentally exhausted and it's like causing me to be physically exhausted. I have no idea, but I feel terrible. Not necessarily terrible, but God, I feel exhausted today. I woke up, hold up, let me see if this makes anything better. I woke up at like 3 a.m. Couldn't go back to sleep. I wish I could just... Hello, Beck, how are you? Here? This is fine. That's a lot better. Oh my gosh. What a time to be alive, you guys. Like, no matter which way I put this though, it like creates a perfect circle on my glasses. Let's see. This way? No. Interesting. Maybe just, no, because then I can't read. Nice to see you again. Hello, how are you? I'll just talk this way the whole entire time. All right, let me hit record. Hello and welcome to episode 21 of In My Opinion with Io. I am your host, Io Zaymar. What are we talking about this week? So what did I see this week? We're gonna start off with some things that are a little bit lighter, I guess, in conversation before we get into the what the fuck. Big green circles. I know, right? What do I... It's okay. This way. I will talk this way. Maybe if it's... Is that better or worse? I have no idea. Okay. For those listening at home, I'm trying to fix my lighting. Anyways, so what did I see? Apparently, there is a zoo. Where did I see this? Let me type this in. That had to separate 5 parrots for bad language. Okay. Did anybody else read about this? So usually, I guess parrots, they're not as encouraging. The way they encourage each other is by laughing. So when we, or some kind of acknowledgement to their behavior. So when we have a parrot, a pet parrot, it says something, it does something, we laugh, we acknowledge its behavior, it continues to do it. These 5 parrots, I guess, were encouraging each other, and they're laughing at each other, and they're cursing, and they're laughing, and so they're encouraging each other, and so all 5 of them are just like, they had to be separated. And I guess what they're hoping is that now that they're separated, and they put them in all these different areas of the zoo. This is in somewhere in the UK at the British Zoo, Lincolnshire Wildlife Centre. Yeah, because people would hear it, guests would hear it and things like that, and they would laugh. And so it would just encourage them even more. So they're hoping that separating them, that they will use these words less, and that they won't encourage the other birds that they are now around to start using this kind of vocabulary, which would be hilarious, because instead of 5, they would have oh, awesome, good to know. Yeah, instead of 5 parrots, they're hoping that it's not going to multiply. Now that they've separated it, they're hoping that this will fix the problem and not create a bigger one, which was, it's I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. What would I do? What would I do if I was at that zoo? I have no idea. I personally would just keep them together, because it's like, okay, they're just I find it hilarious, me personally. If it wasn't offending any of the guests, I would just be like, okay, just keep them together. That's fine. Something else I saw in the news, this isn't like really a light topic at all. It's actually kind of scary and disturbing. A rare skull defect causes this woman to leak brain fluid during a COVID-19 swab. Now, this is super rare, okay? This is a super rare case. This is apparently in the history of everyone getting, these nasal swabs and stuff for COVID-19. This is the first instance of this happening. I guess what happened was, years ago, this woman, she had an issue already with her brain fluid. It was causing a lot of pressure on her brain. So they went in, they put a shunt and stuff in. They did this procedure to help treat her intracranial hypertension. They drained some of the fluid out and everything like that. It was fine. Cute. I know, right? It was fine. Everything seemed to be fine. This was years ago. They did not realize that what was happening was, after the procedure, I guess part of her brain, the lining of her brain, started to grow down one of her nasal passages. So when they went in to swab, it was just like, it was like a ticking time bomb, because honestly, like anything went in deep enough, it would have ruptured this brain lining anyways. So a good thing it happened in the hospital. Okay, they swabbed her, I guess out of one nostril, the one that it was like growing in or whatever. It ruptured. She had just clear fluid leaking out of this nostril. She was like, she was vomiting. She had a headache, neck stiffness, phototopia. I hope I'm saying that right. I have no idea. Hello, aesthetic stoner. Hello and welcome. Um, Phototopia. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's extreme sensitivity to light. So she's experiencing all of this stuff after just clear liquid is leaking down her nostril, and yeah. That's when they discovered this problem. And that, yeah, the good thing it happened in the hospital, because if it was just like some, she's out there, what if she was just like picking her nose and something scared her, and then her finger just went like a little bit too deep, and it happened in her house, what if something like that would. So they realized there's a name for this. Encephalocele. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Encephalocele. So that, yeah, that's when the lining of your brain is growing somewhere else, and it was growing down this one nasal passage, and it ruptured. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Hello and welcome, you guys. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. My sister-in-law is a nurse. She works, in the hospital. She mentioned that in the hospital, when they're getting like a certain type of nasal swab, they really got to go in there and like get in there, and when they pull it out, pretty much 99.9% of the time it's going to cause a nosebleed. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm scared to get a nasal swab. And I was like even more afraid when I read just the title of this article, and then I was reading more into it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely don't have, any intracranial hypertension going on. I've never had a procedure. I feel like my brain lining, who knows? I've never, yeah, who knows? Has anything gone deep enough into my nose? Maybe it would have ruptured like a long time ago then. Because I feel like I've had tubes up my nose, or maybe that was like in my throat. I can't remember. I had an endoscopy done, and so they put me under anesthesia, and I don't remember where the tubes went down. I feel like it was not down my throat. I feel like it was in my nose, and some of them were in my arm. I feel like I'm good. I feel like that's not going to happen to me. I need to set up some tattoo appointments. All right, if you guys need a tattoo, hit up this guy, Aesthetic Stoner. Give him your info. I mean, if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. What else? What else happened this week? The presidential debate was this week. I don't know if you guys saw it. I didn't catch it when it was live, like when it was actually happening. I had some stuff going on that day. But I watched it afterwards, and when I got home, I watched it, and I was like, the first question, and they start speaking, and I'm just like, What the fuck? Like my body's natural reaction was to get nauseous. I got physically sick to my stomach within the first like 3 minutes of listening to the first response to the first question. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to get through this entire debate if I feel like I'm going to vomit? I felt like, yeah, like I was going to vomit. I felt physically sick to my fucking stomach. And then I was like, did he even answer? Was the question even answered? What the fuck is going on? Like, there are people out there who understand when this man is speaking. And by this man, I mean the President of the United States. There are people who, like, understand him. There was no debate. Royce, yeah. They just, like so many questions left unanswered. It was just, like, it was nothing. It was insane. It was insane. It was like watching a bratty child, get in an argument with an old man who is like trying so hard to be patient but is slowly losing their shit. Okay, that's exactly what I fucking saw. I was like, huh? He was like, he said something, so I have to respond, and it was like, you don't have to respond to every single thing because you should have already said your point because you were like the first to, be able to answer. The moderator will let you know when it's your turn to speak. Even the moderator was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? They don't pay me enough to be a moderator. They don't, like, they probably pay him enough to be a moderator, yes, but they don't pay him enough to be a moderator for that. He was like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. How did he become president? You know what? The thing is that I feel that the people of the United States, like, they really want to change. They really want to see a change. They just don't know how to go about it. And maybe they have ideas, yes, maybe they whatever, but they want to change. And here we are, we're seeking change, but we're kind of going down the same path because here we are again, and it has become even more two-sided, and it's just like, it's one or the other. So it feels like we're just going down the same path. We're looking for different answers. We're looking for a different outcome, but we're going about it the same way. I feel like we won't ever find this change, this great change that we're seeking by going down the same path over and over again. But here we are. So I feel like the people really wanted a change. I want change. Everybody wants change. They want some kind of change because it's so obvious that some things, like, they don't make sense, And here we are, like, we're definitely trying harder and harder and harder. So I feel like that was kind of, in a way, like, the one of the first steps, because it is bringing about some kind of change, honestly. Not in, like, I don't know. It's like the changes that we need aren't going to happen overnight for sure, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be beautiful, and it's not going to be this, rainbows and sunshine, happiness. So maybe this is the change. Maybe we did pick the right person to bring about the change that we so desperately need, because we are realizing kind of fucking full force within the last year that, yeah, we really need a fucking change. And we're realizing the things that need to change. And it's like all of it's being pushed to the surface and brought to light. We need a total reset on these politicians. Yes, for real. He was better than Hillary Clinton, I guess, but really all politicians are kind of trash. Yeah. He's a symptom of where America is at. Yes, for real. We are always picking the better of two evils. And the thing is like, here in America, we have more than two political parties. It's so why do we narrow it down to two? Is it because it's easier for the masses to only focus on two things, black and white, not in terms of ethnicity or race, but is it easier for us to focus on just two things rather than like be given a wide variety of options? And is it harder for people to choose from a wider variety of options? Is that why we've narrowed it down to just be like, okay, we're only going to pick from two? Because we have so, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, when it comes down to these presidential debates, like, last year, I feel like we had more than two people speaking, and this year we definitely only had the two people speaking. And it was like, what? Is it because it's easier for us to focus on two people? I don't understand. Like, if we have more than two parties, if we have more than two people running, if we, why can't we hear all of them speak? And it boils down to fucking finances and all this other stuff. And that doesn't make any sense to me. We want to pick the right person. I feel as a collective, we all kind of want the same things. Ultimately, I feel like when it comes down to it, the masses, we would all pick a leader who would be the most beneficial for us. But instead, we're just like, all right, here it goes. We got to pick the lesser of two evils. Like, I think we need people who actually represent the demographics of our communities, like AOC 176 in New York City, yes. Not old white people, but it will be like trying to take candy from a childish teen. Difficult, yeah. I wanted Bernie Sanders to make it, but unfortunately, yeah, I know, for real. For Bernie to win, he made too many enemies. I wanted him to, but it was dumb enough. Yeah, it's capitalism for the bipartisan method. Highest bidder, yeah. Why should having X amount of millions make a difference in voting? Yeah, for real. If they have good morals and are what the people want, then no financial assistance should be needed. I feel like, when you're running a campaign and everything like that, it's kind of like when you're running for school president and things like that. Like, yeah, if your parents have more money and stuff, like, you're going to have the flyers that are, better looking and aren't hand drawn and everything like that. But at the end of the day, everybody gets their say, and it should be like that anyways. Like, if you're running a campaign, you're putting your money behind it, you're maybe getting donors and things like that, you're putting out your flyers and your advertisements and things and all of this other stuff. When it comes down to it, though, when it comes down to being able to hear what everybody has to say against what their opponent has to say when it comes to a debate like this. Everybody should be represented. We should be able to listen to everybody. And as long as I've been alive, only people who can afford it are able to participate in these presidential debates, and people who get X amount of votes, and you can only get X amount of votes because you have X amount of money. And it's, when it comes to something like this, like Roy said, financial stuff shouldn't really matter, because we're trying to pick somebody who's the best to represent us. And how can we do that if we can't hear everybody's side? Oh, because you don't have enough money, we're not going to listen to you? That doesn't make sense. If that person is the best fit for the job, I want to listen to them. I want to hear what they have to say. You know, I don't want to have to pick from the lesser of two evils. I don't feel like it should be that way, and it sucks. And I feel like it's going to remain that way as long as the people sit here and are just like, that's the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's what we gotta do. It's always gonna be like this. That's just the way it's the way it is because you say that's the way it is. The more people that believe that's the way it is and just like succumb to that kind of mentality, that's the way it's going to be. As long as the masses believe that's the way it's going to be, it's not going to change. It's not going to change because we've become so comfortable to this. There's a quote in here. A quote. Let me find this. Okay. Where am I looking? This is the wrong website. Here we go. Hopefully this is it. Please be it. Okay, here we go. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. This is from the Declaration of Independence. Do you know what that means? Do you guys understand that? Because it's written in kind of like Old English. Some people, it might not make sense because it's like hath. Who uses hath anymore? Hath shown? You know. So this is basically saying that people are more willing to suffer because it's comfortable for them, because they're used to it, you know? Because, yeah, trying to make a change is scary and things like this. We're humans. We're mammals. We are animals. We are creatures of habit, okay? We become comfortable with this repetition, and even if we hate it, like this says, it's nothing new, okay? This is human psychology. This is the way the brain works. They obviously knew it, 1776, okay? They obviously knew it because they wrote it in here in the Declaration of Independence. Like, when we become so used to something and so accustomed to something, and so it's just become a part of us, like, we're comfortable. We're comfortable in our sadness, in our misery, and we're just going to remain there, and we won't do anything about it because we're comfortable. And that's kind of how I feel about this two-party system. It's like we're always, it's just how it's gonna be, because you guys said it yourself. It's just how it is. It's just the way it is. It's just it's just the thing we gotta do. And just yes, understood. Not just that, but it's difficult. It's in our nature to create technology to make our lives easier. Yes, that's what we invest in, because society was designed for us to suffer, hence the machine. I feel like society wasn't necessarily designed to make us suffer. Like, that's not in in the times before, when societies were first being established, that was not the main goal of a society, was for the people of that society to suffer. It sort of turned out that way because obviously power affects people, and when people are put into a position of power, it oftentimes corrupts people, and that's kind of what happened over the years and years and years and years of society. No, it can be explained. People who fight for justice took time to think about what's happening to us. Yes. Hello, how are you? It's only to maintain order, not morality, which is propaganda. Power doesn't corrupt people. People corrupt power. Royce, that is a very good point. Because honestly, it's kind of in them already, that corrupt nature. So when they're put into that position of power, it really, that corrupt nature really, takes over. It takes over the reins. Yes, it's like alcohol. Yes. Because it's in that person already. That's very true. You know it's bad. Stern, you have too much. Yes. So that whole thing happened. The presidential debate happened. And okay, so going back to that, because we kind of went off on this tangent about the two-party system. Hold on. Okay. So the thing that a lot of people were talking about afterwards, after the debate and things, was how Trump kind of refused to condemn white supremacy when given that question and confronted with that. What did he say? He said something like, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by." People are like, what the fuck? That's what I saw a lot of. People were just like, what the fuck? And now I had to look it up, because apparently there are news headlines where Trump condemns all white supremacists after refusing to do so at the debate. I condemn the KKK. I condemn all white supremacists. I condemn the Proud Boys. I don't know much about the Proud Boys, almost nothing, but I condemn that. This is after the debate. After the debate, he says, I don't know much about the Proud Boys, almost nothing. But at the debate, he says, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. What? Okay, we all know. There's some people I saw in on social media commenting and everything like that. They were like, I still would vote for Trump. I still would vote for Trump because at least he gets his facts straight and he's not like Biden who gets all his numbers wrong. What I saw at the debate was, like I said, a freaking bratty child trying to debate an old man who's just kind of tired of his shit and like slowly losing his patience. It's true, Biden doesn't always get his numbers right or whatever, but it seems like to me, just by watching, it seems like he's trying to recall all these facts. Like he has a list of everything that he wants to say and he's literally just memorized it. And now he's at this debate and he's trying to recall all of these things that he's drilled into his brain. That's what I see. Because you guys know that even on my show that I don't get all of my facts right. I get my numbers wrong and things like that. And it's because I have all of these things that I've read through and I'm trying to memorize. And when I go to talk and speak, some of the facts get jumbled up. That's kind of what I saw with Biden. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the biggest fan of Biden. But just watching that debate, that's what I saw. I saw him trying to recall facts, and then I saw this guy, this man-child, just spitting out nonsense. He doesn't get his facts straight at all because he doesn't have any facts, because everything that comes out of his fucking mouth is pretty much a fucking lie, okay? There's no facts. It's all lies. I know almost nothing about the Proud Boys. Bro, like, what? Aren't you like their fucking leader? Like, I don't know. Everything is just. But that's what the people were concerned with, was this white supremacist thing. Let me go back up here in the chat. Like Trump, for example, he has a hard time being empathetic to others. To people, he did not live a normal life. Yeah, he doesn't lie. He tells things the way he sees things. Yeah, for sure. Of course, he won't say he's racist. Now he needs to step up on that Proud Boy stuff. He needs to realize what he's doing. Exactly. That's what I saw. A lot of people were just like, what the fuck is this The thing I was like, what the fuck about, is when he was talking about vaccines, when they got on the topic of vaccines, because he kind of made it known that this whole thing is fucking political. Okay, he made it known. Like, did that just like fly over people's heads? Because he was like, he literally pushed it out there. He was like, this vaccine stuff, it's totally political. It's totally political because people like this make it political. And I was just like, yeah, people like you make it fucking political. And he doesn't just make it known just by saying that. He made it known that it's a political thing just by one saying it. And then his next thing that he says that, because I'm gonna, he doesn't believe the scientists who who think it's gonna be a minute for a vaccine to come out. He says that he went above the scientists and talked to the companies, and now they're going to try and push this thing out before November 1st. We're going to have a vaccine before November 1st because, it's fucking political and da-da-da. Biden isn't making this political. Nowhere did he say anything about this being political. No, I've never heard anything about, whatever. I did hear Biden try to, make it out that natural disasters were something that a president had control over. But I don't remember anything about him saying that the vaccines or this coronavirus was political. Trump definitely said it verbatim, this vaccine stuff is political. And that he's going to try and have a vaccine by November 1st or shortly after November 1st. And then the next thing he said is what confused me the fucking most. He was like, we're gonna have a vaccine out by November 1st, or shortly after. What the fuck did he say? He mentioned the military. He's like, I have the military standing by. They can deploy 200,000 troops. And then he got cut off or whatever because they were just interrupting each other. But what? Why did he bring the military into this? Why does the military, what does the military deploying 200,000 troops, what does that have to do with vaccines? How do those things relate? That's my question. That was the thing, everyone's talking about white supremacy. I'm like, why the fuck is he bringing up the military with vaccines? What the fuck did those two things have to do with each other? Is the military, are these 200,000 soldiers that the military can deploy, they're on standby, are they going to deploy them and they each got a vaccine or maybe 10 vaccines? So now each soldier is strapped with 10 vaccines. They're going to deploy these soldiers and they're just gonna come at us with vaccines. What the fuck is going on? Why what I can't even find the words. I'm so fucking confused by that. You're the president, you're supposed to be political. Yeah, for real. Yes, they try to control storms in Vietnam by putting more sodium in the air. What? What's up, sis? Thank you so much. Yeah, I recorded it on my phone when he said it because I couldn't believe it. I had to rewatch it 3 times. I was like, what the fuck? I wonder if I can find this. Yes, here we go. Trump says the military is prepared to deliver 200,000 coronavirus vaccine doses a day. I just don't even understand that. I don't understand. And then what I don't understand either is he was like, I brought back fucking football. What kind of football? Some type of football? Who the fuck cares? Also, yeah, he did get fucking coronavirus. He got coronavirus, and a lot of people are like, yay, he got coronavirus, I hope he dies. That's kind of mean, even though he's a terrible person. It's kind of mean to hope that he dies, but he did get coronavirus, and yeah. Apparently, what I was reading was that he gets tested every day, right? That's what I heard a while ago, is that he gets tested for coronavirus every day. So apparently they had known for a couple of days though that he had corona, and he's out there doing interviews and freaking debates and all this other stuff, and Did he really, though? It's a good excuse to not be on camera until the election. It's whatever. See, I don't know. Like, I'm not his doctor. I have no idea, like, what's really happening, because he could honestly, like, say that he had it and he doesn't have it, but, you know, oh, print this out. Who knows? Who really knows? Who really fucking knows? That's what a lot of people think, that he doesn't really have it as a scam. And well, thing is, I don't think he'd lie about it. If he could help it, he'd be in public still. Something must be wrong. I have no idea. Like, personally, I don't know, because but it's kind of like the situation where the boy cries wolf, because he was sitting here this whole time, like, he didn't make a big deal about it. It is what it is, you know, to the 200,000 people who have fucking already died. It is what it is, da 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 da. You know, he didn't fucking really care about wearing a mask until recently, so here he is. He's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, is there really a wolf? Did he really get coronavirus? Or, you know, is he just... Who... I'm not his doctor, so I wasn't there. I didn't test him. There's no part of me that would ever want to stick anything up his nose, or collect any kind of bodily anything from him. I don't even want his skin flakes on me, okay? Like, it's more like a wolf crying boy. Yeah. Him being on camera is not helping him at all. That's very true. So maybe this is some kind of who honestly knows now at this point, because he's such a fucking liar. But at the same time, like, it's kind of terrible that people are like, I hope he dies, you know? There's like a part of me that realistically is like, okay, he's old. It doesn't seem like, you know, who knows about his health conditions. I have no idea what he keeps secret and what he chooses to, you know, come out to the public with, health-wise. So who knows? But there's a part of me that's like, okay, you're old. So there's a good chance. I've tried to look at it from a logical standpoint. I'm not trying to hope that he dies. I'm just like, okay, that's like, you know, logically, even according to him, because according to him, only old people can get it. Apparently, he said this during the debate. According to him, it's like da 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 da, and only old people can get it, and young people can't get it. And I was just like, then what the fuck happened in Georgia? What the fuck? If old people are the only people who can get it, and young people can't get it, they're like immune to this disease. Like, what the fuck happened to all those kids in Georgia who went to that YMCA camp and fucking got coronavirus? Are they like all secretly Benjamin Button kids that went to this YMCA camp? Was that what happened? I have no idea. It's just, it was fucking the whole thing. The whole debate was really fucking confusing. And now Trump has coronavirus. Apparently Biden does not have coronavirus. Trump even made fun of Biden, I guess, for wearing a mask all the time. He's like, he's got the biggest mask I've ever seen. He tries to like downplay people. Like, that's his technique of getting ahead, is just by like saying that everyone else is wrong and he's right, and he knows. But I feel like, you know, it's 2020. If you aren't looking his shit up, if you aren't aware that a majority of the shit that comes out of his mouth is a fucking lie. Like, you're not doing your research. You're not doing your research on anything. You can't sit here and claim to be the Facebook fact scientist and defend his lies. Our prayers are with the coronavirus. Oh my god. I have this stream on my sound system. It sounds like an auditorium in my apartment. Nice. Anyone can get coronavirus. Exactly. You know, it's not a living virus. I mean, viruses are interesting in that way. In the way that they do the things they do. But that is what happened this week, that I saw this week. What else happened this week? I forgot. It's like a protein nail bomb. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I did not write this one thing down, and I was like, oh, let's talk about this. And it was something that happened to me personally, and I can't remember. My brain is like physically exhausted. After that debate, like, I immediately went to sleep. I went to sleep. My brain was done. It just... It was done. It was like trying to listen and then them talking over each other, and it was just like, what? And then the moderator was trying to talk over everything, and I was like, what? After the debate, like, it ended. You know, what I was watching ended. And I just like stared for a second, blunk my eyes a couple of times, and I passed out. What day was that? Tuesday. My brain is still recovering, and it's Sunday. Or maybe it's just been this whole year of just crazy shit every single fucking day, trying to decipher what is real, what is fake, what the fuck is going on. Like, when was this printed? Oh, it was printed 3 days ago. Okay. Some stuff that I'm seeing, it was like printed 3 years ago. I'm like, why did you republish this? It has, it's an interesting article, yes, but why are you republishing it? Because it's 2020. I need everything that you publish needs to be from the year 2020. Please don't publish something from the year 2017. Okay? This year is so crazy. So fucking crazy. And it's gotten crazier as we are getting closer to the presidential election. At least here in America. And I'm worried. Okay, I'm worried because I got my new driver's license and everything because I had to get an update, and it came back in my address, like there was a typo in my address, and so I have to go and get that fixed. I went ahead and changed it though online. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, why was there a typo on this? I feel like it changed my whole it changed my voter registration too, because then it asked me if I wanted to register to vote at my new address, which was just me updating and fixing the typo. And I'm like, is this going to affect what happens with my voter stuff. Like what? Why is this asking me? Like I'm so confused, and I'm like, why is there a typo? Why is there a typo on my license when on the envelope there's no typo, and everything else there's like no typo? I have like such a conspiracy, like a paranoid conspiracy theorist brain. I'm always like wondering beyond what I need to. But it's okay. I feel like it prepares me for something, if something extremely crazy were to happen. Like, I've already thought about it. I've already mentally prepared myself for it. Okay, so if it actually were to be the case, I'm going to be less surprised, and I will know how to deal with it. Some people are like, you don't need the extra stress. I wake up some days not knowing if what happened yesterday was a dream or reality. I feel that also, Royce, for sure. I taught a 5th grade class one time. I was exhausted after 4 hours. I believe that, because children are exhausting. They're exhausting, and yet I still want one. I'm like, oh, I want a child. But maybe in a few years is what I always think to myself. I'm so excited though, because I am about to be an aunt here in the next year. I can't wait. There hasn't been a new baby in my family in so long, and now I'm an aunt. I'm gonna be an aunt for the first time. I'm so fucking excited. I have one brother, my younger brother, my baby brother. He's gonna have, my baby's having babies, you guys. My baby brother, he's like my baby. Like, I helped raise him, and I can't be any more excited for him and more proud of him, because he's really working his fucking ass off, and he's fucking doing it. They just got a new house. They're about to have their first kid. They got 2 great dogs already. I'm so fucking excited. But it's exhausting. Children are fucking exhausting, okay? They are. And my friend explained it to me. She's like, it doesn't matter how you raise your kid. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you get what you get. It's like fucking, it's like spinning a wheel, and you get the kid that you get. Like, I was like, what? I know that isn't entirely true, because I know that there are some things that I picked up from my parents. And I know that children do learn from their parents, but it's not always the things that we expect them to learn from us, that they pick up. And yeah, I guess you get what you get. Besides that, they are their own person. They're gonna have their own personality, and you get what you get. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, so if you get a psycho, you get a fucking psycho. I was like, don't tell me that. I guess that's how it happens. My brother's worried, because he was not the best baby, okay? He was crying all the time, and he threw a lot of temper tantrums, and he kind of put my parents through hell. And so my brother is really concerned that that's the kind of kid he's going to end up with, that's going to be his karma. And I'm like, yeah, probably. But I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. And I feel like I'm practicing. I'm like, okay, I gotta have the best brownie recipe before this kid is born. I have the best grilled cheese recipe. So I'm like excited for them to visit me so they can come over to Aunt C's and get the best grilled cheese. But yeah. Yeah, anything else? We have 5 more minutes left of the show, so if anyone else has anything they want to add about anything that we talked about, we were talking about the coronavirus, the presidential debate, those birds, those cursing birds, mental exhaustion. But don't you think the hard work of raising children at the end pays off? You know, I honestly think that it does. I don't know based off of my own experience because I don't have kids, but I saw it in my dad because my dad came over. This was a couple of years ago when I was dating somebody, and my dad came over. He was sitting down on this couch and everything like that, and he's like looking at this apartment that I just got, and he's like, oh, you know, it looks great, everything's set up so nice, blah 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 blah, you and so, you know, you did a good job setting everything up. And I was like, no, I set everything up by myself. My dad's like, what? I was like, yeah, I even put together the couch that you're sitting on. And my dad like slowly like had to like reevaluate and reassess himself and like make sure that the couch wasn't gonna fall apart. And he like bounced it on it a couple times and everything seemed solid. And he's like, you know what? He's like looking around at everything that I had done, and he's like, wow, I guess I didn't do like too bad of a job raising you. And I was like, you know what? No, you didn't. You didn't. There's so many things that I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful that I had my parents, no matter what we went through, because they taught me so much. They taught me so much. I think about it all the time. Whenever I fix something, whenever I do something, I'm just like, I wouldn't have known how to do this if it weren't for my parents. And all the time, I'm so grateful for them. My friends who have kids are so tired, but say it's worth it when their kids learn things in the way they hoped. Yes. He was proud of you. Yes. The few times I had a chance to bring a child into this world, we decided things in the world were not going in a good place and aborted the situation. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't. I will never know. Royce, all I can say is what's meant to be is. So you guys made the best decision for yourselves and even still for that child, because who knows what kind of situation they would have ultimately ended up in. And yeah, I never believe that there are really any kind of mistakes. I feel like we always do the best that we can in the moment. Kids are tough and expensive. Yes, they are. By the way, nice apartment. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here, you guys. I will be back in a little bit, but I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I had a great time. I think we had a pretty good discussion. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, your night. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Be safe, be healthy, and please wash your hands. All right, I'm gonna save this recording. 21, save it, don't publish. Yeah, Royce, you're fine. I've been in those situations too, and I always think about that, and I'm always like, you know, I always remind myself, like, I did the best that I could do in the moment. Yeah. And I feel like everyone should remember that, because there are times where we regret things. We feel like this heavy sense of regret. Was it a mistake? Was it this? And we go through things that happened in the past that don't even really affect us today, but we sit here and we recall these things, and we relive the situation, and we, in a sense, cause it to affect us today by doing that. But we got to remember, what's in the past is in the past, and that past you went ahead and made the best decision that they could in that moment. If you could have made a better decision, you would have. But you made the best decision you could have in that moment, with everything that you had, with all the knowledge that you had then, with all the experience that you had at that time, with because hindsight is always 20/20. We're always going to look back at something and say, oh, I should have done this, but you're thinking about that with new thoughts that occurred after that situation. So you're doing the best you can with what you have to work with in that moment. Wash your hands and wear a mask. Yes, for real. Also, back then I was making terrible income, so I would not have been the best parent. I would have been struggling for sure. Exactly. Adopting is a great idea. It is. It really is. But also, when we're in the moment and thinking about those things, there are a lot of health complications that could come about with adoption for the person who's pregnant, because pregnancy puts a lot of strain on the body, and unfortunately there are a lot of people who have negative health outcomes after pregnancy. Some women have heart issues. It only exacerbates it. Some people actually end up dying. I found out that an epidural can actually leave you paralyzed. So there are a lot of things to consider, whether you're going to keep a child or give it up for adoption or whatever. There are a lot of things for someone else to consider. And there's also a lot of kids who are sitting in adoption agencies who are waiting to be adopted all around the world, in foster homes, and they aren't always given the best life, and they move around from foster home to foster home to foster home, and nobody ever wants to adopt them, as much as there are people around everywhere who in passing think, oh, adopting could be a good choice for me. Because the reality is that people they want to try so hard to have their own baby. And adoption usually is kind of like their last option. And yeah, it's a lot to think about. So I feel like the world is so overpopulated. All of that stuff. You guys made the best decision that you could in that moment, and don't ever feel like you made a mistake with that, because it can haunt you for the rest of your life. It's, in a way, it feels like, yeah, you're killing somebody. It feels like you're a murderer. you know? And there are people who will tell you you're a murderer because you went out and did something like that. But yeah, it's like seeing stray animals. It's awesome if you can help them out, but the reality is you can't save them all, and they will not all live a great life. Exactly. Yeah, Gary, chill. I just wish we had like stories of more hardship to learn from. Yeah. I feel like a lot of success stories, a lot of people who have like the best success stories usually come from a really hard place. But you cannot make a diamond without pressure, right? You can't form a diamond without pressure and coal. All right, you guys. It is 1:52. I already ended my recording for the episode. But he always says his parents were great, and that's most people's problems. True. Getting their parents on board. Yeah, the thing is like, it's really hard when you come from like, you know, a not so great situation to get your parents on board and to get into that place where you guys see eye to eye, because a lot of people they don't like to admit that they're wrong, or they don't like to admit that they did something wrong, and so they're always going to live like they did nothing wrong till they get to their deathbed, and then they're sitting there and they're like, oh my god, I should have done, I should have said, I should have. It's unfortunate. But I am gonna go because we are gonna do an AMA. I am gonna get ready to do an AMA after this. I'm not sure, in about like an hour and a half or so. Thank you so much, Royce, for participating in the conversation and this episode. Thank you. Shout out from the E19 posse. Thank you, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna get ready for the AMA. I should be back here in about like an hour and a half. So I will see you guys then. All right. I love you all. Besos, besitos, mi amores. I will talk to you soon. I should update my schedule. It's been, I'm mentally exhausted from this year. I'm so, like, everything makes me feel confused. I'm like, okay, this happened. When did this happen? This was like a week ago. And then I look and I'm like, no, that was yesterday. I'm like, what? I've never felt like more confused in my life. I felt my brain fry one day. One day in school, I told you guys I went to school for fashion design, and in this fabric science class that I had to take, through a freaking this not a microscope, but pretty much through this like this lens, this thread looking lens that we have to look through. I had to sit here and go and examine all of these fucking threads and determine if they did an S curl, if they did like an S, or if they did a Z. And I'm like, how does anyone know? Because if you turn it this way, it makes an S. If you literally flip the thread upside down, it makes a Z. And my teacher's like, well, you have to determine where the top of the thread is and where the bottom is. I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, because as soon as you cut a fucking thread, it's a thread. It's just one piece of string. Like, you have to determine where the top and the bottom is to determine which shape. I was, my brain, I felt it physically, like a fizzle that day in my brain. And I have not felt like that level of mental exhaustion really since then until the presidential debate. So yeah, or maybe it's just been this whole year, and that the debate was kind of like the cherry on top. But I'll be back in like an hour and a half or so. All right. KD, I'm, how tall am I? I'm 5'6", 5'6". How many meters is that? I think it was like 1.67 meters. How many centimeters is that? 167 centimeters. About. All right, I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I'll be back soon. I'll see you soon. All right, bye.